Hey guys, Michael from Fanatik Motorsports here, and today we're going to be repairing a broken LED light bar on the spoiler of my 2007 Impreza. A replacement unit is going to be $320 from the dealer, which is outrageous, so instead we're going to be using a $20 LED light strip from Canadian Tire. So let's jump right in. Most cars and SUVs will have a similar mounting system to my Impreza, so first off we'll remove these two covers and Phillips head screws. Pop the trunk and cut any zip ties that may be holding back excess wire, and then proceed to pull the wire through the spoiler to give you some extra length to work with. I chose to not disconnect the battery to do this, and although there is little chance of a shock, I'm still being extra careful on cutting one wire at a time and at different lengths so there is no chance they can short out. Now that we've done that, I can show you the LED unit we'll be using. You can get these cheaper on eBay, but I didn't want to have to wait a month for shipping. The light bar has a little bit of silicone sealant that needs to be cut through to allow the light element to be removed. This is supposed to be a tight seal, but mine was showing signs of age, which could explain why the bar had condensation in it in the past. Use a knife or something to pry the plastic cover off the back and remove the light element. You can see now on the circuit board that there are some corroded sections which are likely what caused the bar to fail. The leaky seal is probably the cause, so we'll scrape off the old sealant so it's nice and clean for reinstallation. These light strips are made in 3 LED sections and are divided by cut lines where you can shorten the length if needed. You can also see where there are contacts to solder wires to. With this light bar, the wires would be best to relocate in the middle, but as this can be a bit fiddly, we're going to just leave it as it is. In order for the light element to fit the housing properly, I'm going to use some plastic to replicate the shape of the old circuit board. This is 1mm styrene plastic that I've used for quite a few RC projects. However, you can either skip this step or find something at a local hardware store that'll do the same job. Trace around the board with a pencil and follow that with a knife to score the plastic. Then come back along the scored line and fold the plastic back and forth. It'll break on the line. Next up, we will find the middle of the plastic piece and the middle of the LED strip, which happens to be right on the cut line. Cut into the peel-off backer on the adhesive and fold back 2 little sections in the middle like this. Then stick the LEDs to the plastic and remove the side backers so you'll end up with a straight and wrinkle-free installation. I cut a small slot in the plastic and removed the shrink tube from the LED unit so the wires could pass through easily. Then taped it all back up. Pop the newly modified light back into the housing and test it one last time before sealing it up. I chose to use hot glue as a seal, but you could use silicone caulking as well, just make sure not to miss any small areas, as we want this to be weather tight. Back outside we can strip all the wires and tin the ends with solder to help avoid fraying. I've got this little butane torch which is great for working away from power outlets. Grab some heat shrink tubing to protect your solder joints. I used 2 small pieces for each wire and 1 larger one to go over them. Be sure to slip on the heat shrink before soldering, and don't let it get too close to the solder joint, otherwise it could shrink prematurely from the heat. For a cleaner install, I should have trimmed the wires on the LED bar to match the different lengths on the car, but as it's never going to be seen, it's not critical. Make sure to match up your positive and negatives. LEDs will only work one way, and you can damage them if you reverse polarity. Usually the solid black wire will be negative, and anything other than that will be positive, so just make sure you've got them right. Give it a quick test with the brake pedal and use a lighter or a torch on the shrink tubing. Finally, we'll pull the wire back through the trunk to seat the light in place, reinstall the screws, and zip tie any loose wires back in place. And that's it. The results look awesome. We've gone from this to this. You've just saved some bucks and maybe learned a thing or two in the process. So be sure to check out my channel for more how-to and build videos, and consider subscribing so you don't miss anything.